You know that language that's object-oriented, strongly typed, garbage collected, and backed by a tech giant who swore it would run everywhere? Yes, that one. The one everyone said was pointless when it launched. What? No, dude, not Java, but the IntelliJ away. I'm talking about Dart. Hear me out for a sec. Oh, and quickly before we start, I post 3 videos weekly, so subscribe and hit that bell to become a codehead and get notified as soon as I drop. All right, let's go. Dart was built by Lars Bak, the same engineer who built Chrome's V8 engine and had his hands deep in JVM work before that. When you open a Dart file for the first time, you genuinely do a double take. Classes, generics, strong typing, void main. It reads like Java went on vacation, had a bit of sun, and came back slightly more relaxed. Now, to really get why this matters, you have to remember what Java was originally trying to do. When Java launched in 1995, Sun Microsystems had one pitch: write once, run anywhere. One language, every platform, every device.
One ring to rule them all.
That was actually radical at the time. Nothing did that, and it worked. Java became the language of servers, of enterprise software, of Android, of basically anything that needed to run somewhere serious. Now, listen to Dart's pitch today. Mobile, web, desktop, one codebase. That is the exact same promise. But here's where the story gets interesting. Google launched Dart back in 2011, and for about 7 years, it went nowhere, like half of Google's projects. Developers looked at it, shrugged, and kept writing JavaScript. Google was keeping it on life support. Then, Flutter dropped its first stable release in December 2018, and overnight, Dart had a reason to exist. Usage spiked. Developers showed up. The language that nobody wanted suddenly had an audience in the millions. And that pattern should sound familiar to you if you know anything about Java's history, because Java on its own was powerful but messy at scale. Spring came along and gave every enterprise developer a reason to actually commit to the ecosystem. It didn't add features to Java. It gave Java an identity and a structure. Flutter is to Dart what Spring is to Java, a framework that didn't just extend the language, it justified it. Now, I'm not going to oversell this. Outside of Flutter, Dart is barely a ghost. Nobody's running their banking infrastructure on Dart servers. Nobody's writing government systems in it. Java has decades of enterprise weight behind it, millions of libraries, entire industries built on top of the JVM. Dart doesn't have any of that, and in those spaces, it probably never will. So if the question is, will Dart replace Java? The answer is no. But here's the thing. When Java was winning, the battlefield was enterprise servers and desktop software. That's where developer mindshare lived. That's where the money went. That's what mattered. That battlefield has shifted in a way that I don't think people fully appreciate when they write Dart off. There are over 8 billion mobile devices on the planet right now. Mobile apps pull in over $900 billion annually. The average person touches their phone's screen more than they touch a keyboard in a given day. The most important piece of software in most people's lives isn't running on a server somewhere. It's sitting in their pocket. So where does that leave us? Is Dart the second coming of Java? Not in the way Java engineers would recognize. Kotlin already took that throne. It runs on the JVM, it won Android, it's the natural heir. But Dart took Java's original idea, one language that runs everywhere, and brought it to the surface that actually matters most right now. It didn't replace Java. It showed up to a different war at exactly the right moment and started winning on that front instead. Okay, that's cool and all, but if you want to become a true developer, you shouldn't swear allegiance to a single language. You should work on various skills, each more important than others. And that's where Coursera, the sponsor of today's video, comes in. Coursera has thousands of coding courses. First, Python for Everybody by the University of Michigan. Beginner-friendly, taught by an actual university professor, it teaches you Python's data structures, how to use it to access web data and databases. Once you've got your footing, the Unix Workbench by Johns Hopkins teaches you everything Unix, from command line basics to bash programming and Git and GitHub. And then the Software Design and Architecture specialization by the University of Alberta, the direct answer to the vibe coding problem, how to think about systems and structure code properly, since you'll be learning object-oriented design, design patterns, and even software and service-oriented architecture. All 3 courses are self-paced with certificates you can add straight to your LinkedIn. Use my link in the description for 40% off 3 months of Coursera Plus. Go check it out.